happy to join.
Yeah. You're a total badass. I was like searching around your site. I'm like, whoa, like she's so cool.
I do a couple of things.
Yeah, right? I know. I'm like, how does she do all of this? But it seems like it was sort of like a natural, like organic process, sort of, and that you're not fully jumping, at least not yet.
Yeah, it
I don't know.
definitely, Women in the Wild, the growth of Women in the Wild was definitely a better process, like nice and slow and kind of gradual, but I question myself how I do it all as well sometimes.
Right. And I don't know if that's the goal to like jump in at some point all in.
It is, yeah. I'm hoping soon to be able to kind of titrate more into Women in the Wild because right now I'm still working 5 days a week in forestry. So I'm pretty busy
Yeah.
with that, but I'm hoping to slowly start taking on more days of just Women in the Wild and kind of cut back on the forestry stuff.
Heck yeah. That's got to be like a dream job.
Yeah.
I suppose at some parts of it for sure are job like with logistical pieces of planning trips that people don't know what goes into that necessarily if they've never done that or if they just go on a trip and they're having fun and reaping all the benefits but not on the back end, and that can be a ton of work.
It is a ton of work. And I mean, there's the trips, but then I mean, the whole membership and the website and everything. Like I do everything on the back end. I've built the website. I'm doing all of the membership applications and requests and all of that. I'm doing the email lists. I've put together this online course now, which took me 6 months to build. Like it's taken up so much of my life, and I'm happy because it's doing well. It's resonating with people, but it's definitely been really hard to keep up with for sure.
Right. I think I saw on when we were corresponding back and forth on email, I chuckled to myself as under your name, it's like founder, you're laughing. Yeah.
I know
it's like founder, marketing manager, content creator, like, and I was
Where's
like,
all the hats?
at the end, it's like, etc. And I'm like, that's so good. I'm like, I'm gonna bring that up. That's really funny.
That's funny because no one's commented on that. I put that there kind of like chuckling to myself, but nobody's commented on that before.
I caught it.
Yeah,
I caught it. Listen,
beautiful.
People are probably going to get annoyed. I keep talking about, I work in New York City public schools as a dean. People hear that, they're like, oh my God, you make a lot of money and you like make all the important decisions. I'm like, no. And I'm like in K-12 at a high school. I'm at a middle school, high school.
Okay.
We straight are like dogging it. We're like dealing with all the kids that are getting sent out of class because they can't behave. And then I'm tasked with like trying to suss out, are you lying to me? Probably. I've been doing this a long time and investigating things. And so in the little details of things, like I've started to get better at that, obviously in my professional life, but my personal life too. I'm like, oh, and then I start to question people in different ways too now. It's really funny. But I think like me 3 years ago might not have noticed that, but now I'm like, that's really funny. Yeah.
I'm glad you found some comedy in that because I've been waiting and hoping that someone would laugh at it.
Yay! I can't believe it. I'm really the first one.
I mean, maybe other people have noticed it, but nobody's ever said anything. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm the first one to actually say something.
Yeah.
Cool. I feel special.
You are.
Yes. Well, again, thanks for coming on. I guess we'll just jump right in.
For sure.
Because some of the first few questions I have are going to be, just asking about your background and sort of what's who you are. Because obviously I'm interested in that, not just your business and what you're doing with Women in the Wild. But before Women in the Wild, like who is baby Trish? I know you grew up in British Columbia, and I know a little bit because I was doing some research. And like, how did you find your love for the outdoors?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up not extremely outdoorsy. I was a competitive gymnast and all-star cheerleader growing up. So I was in the gym 24 to 30 hours a week. It was school, gym, sleep, repeat. So I didn't really, I mean, on the weekends sometimes when we had time off, where my mom lives and where I grew up, there's a bit of a forest behind there. So with my brother and my cousins, we'd go running down there on the weekends type thing. But that was really my only exposure to the outdoors. And other than that, I mean, once I stopped competing and training gymnastics, I kind of found my love for hiking because I had a dog who was a corgi, and we lived on a farm for the first couple of years of his life. But then we moved to a house in North Vancouver, and while going from a farm to a house with a small backyard, I was like, this dog needs more than that. So I started taking him hiking and trail running and really fell in love with it there. So that didn't happen until about 2018 is kind of when I discovered the outdoors, so to speak. And I had been snowboarding before that for 5 or so years. It's been, I guess, 12 years now that I've been snowboarding. So I knew that I enjoyed athletic type stuff, obviously growing up as an athlete as well. But yeah, really developed my love for hiking specifically when I started bringing my dog out. And then after he unfortunately passed at 3 years old, I had to find another reason to go, and I was going by myself a lot. And then that's when I decided to create the Women in the Wild group, just as a private Facebook group where I could just find other women, because I had male friends that would hike with me, but I didn't have any female friends that would. So that's how I got started into that.
Yeah. Yeah, I can resonate with that. I guess I've been lucky with sort of both, but yeah, I mean, it helps when I worked in the outdoor industry for a bit. So naturally you're just meeting more folks that want to do stuff like that. I also too have a corgi. He's I know, it's amazing.
I love it.
I never thought we would get one. My partner and I, well, she like scrolls on like rescues all the time, right on.
I do that too.
Because yeah, we're big like rescue people. We never want to, and they're like designer dogs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we never thought we would have one. And she's like was born in the UK, didn't grow up there, grew up in the States, but
Yeah.
so there's this. Her dad's from London, so there's just like there's many of these like pulls toward a corgi, but we again never thought we would have one.
Yeah.
Designer dogs, never thought we would find one in a rescue. But bless her, because she scrolls on these rescue websites all the time. And then she's like, can we just meet him? And I'm like, I'm like, I know what these words mean. Can we just meet him? Because what's going to happen if we're, right, a lot of these rescues, like they go in order of people that are contacting them, because there's no better way to do it as long as you're like set up for it. You have a good home. They do a home visit, whatever. Then they just go in order of people that qualify.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I knew we were just dead in the water once we met him. And
Yeah. You can't say no once you've met them, right?
can't say exactly. He was just this beautiful little fur ball. My husky mix was like on her retractable leash all the way across the park, like turned away from us, like was not interested. It was really, it was hilarious.
That's so funny.
But
They're
now,
they're
yeah,
great dogs because they're like, I'm gonna say they're medium sized, but they're like a big dog in a small dog's body. So you can do a
Yes.
lot with them. And like
It's true.
I don't know if you know British Columbia at all, like our hikes here, but like he did the Chief with me, which is a pretty big hike. At the time I had to like get my roommate to climb up on a boulder, and I'd have to lift him up onto it and pass him up, but he made it. He made it
Yeah.
up there.
I'm not surprised. He loves the outdoors. He loves to swim. And he can just go. I know he's like, they have the short, stubby little legs, and you wouldn't think that they can do much, but
They sure
yeah,
can.
he's so athletic, and
Yeah.
his personality is just wild and fun. And I never thought I would love him this much, but yeah, he's our little bundle of joy.
Absolutely, they're the best.
So, so we were talking earlier too. So kind of second part of the question, what's your current job? I think I know are you a forester?
I'm an arborist, technically. So I work in
Arborist.
forestry. I got my certification as an arborist and became what's called a contract climber. So my trade is that I'm a tree climber. And so when you're in, tight spaces and you need to take a tree down, you can't just drop it in one piece. You can't follow the tree whole. You climb up and take it apart in pieces. So that's what I got hired on to do as a contract climber to this company that does land clearing. And I'm not really climbing anymore because of a spine injury, but I still work with the company doing, slashing, bucking trees, fallen trees, and then like running machines. So today I was running an excavator. I'll drive the rock trucks and kind of just do whatever needs to be done around the company to help things keep going.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know you're big on safety, so maybe you want to plug that now. I feel like I'm sure there's been a lot of experiences in your life, and not just with your job, or maybe your job is like the big piece of why you're big on safety. And I know to get into your group, you're like taking people's like part of their IDs, right?
Yeah.
To make sure that you're kind of having you're sussing some folks out to make it safe for everybody that's a part of the group. And then while you're on trips, I'm sure you're taking lots of precautions, because again, like folks don't know what goes into planning and safety. Like a lot of things can go wrong in the outdoors, so we want to try to stabilize that as much as possible, the things that we can control.
Yeah.
Right. So can you talk on that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, My sense of safety started really young with training as an athlete. I had so many injuries, and I got to see at a really early age how badly an injury can affect you for your entire life. So obviously I would want to prevent that as much as possible. After I stopped training gymnastics, I was a coach for 5 years, and I saw some pretty bad injuries with my girls there as well. And then after that, as I get into forestry, it being, considered the top number one most dangerous job in North America, it's something that is always top of mind. So with Women in the Wild, it's twofold. Like you said, I do verify everyone's identity who requests to become a registered member. And I talk to obviously thousands of women all the time, and one of their biggest fears around getting out in the wilderness and hiking and backpacking is that they're just concerned about their safety, not only for injuries and getting lost, stuff like that, which is obviously very important, but they're also concerned about, like, what if I'm solo or with one or two friends and we meet up with someone on the trail who's dangerous? Typically it's men that they're worried about. They don't want to be overpowered. So there's hundreds, if not thousands, of hiking communities online, but I don't know personally of any others who verify the identity of people and make sure that it's all women. Because if it's just I post the events online on Facebook or something or on Instagram without any sort of security measure, then anyone could show up. The general public knows where a group of women is showing up to do their hike. They're going to be vulnerable out in the wilderness, and that's not something that we want. So that's why I have instigated that people have to submit their photo ID, hold it next to their face so I can compare, because anyone can just Google search photo ID of a woman and use that instead. They can, cover their address, cover that sensitive information, but I do compare and make sure that everyone is who that they say they are. And then with that, safety, of course, as you're not wanting to get injured, not wanting to get in any confrontation with wildlife and whatnot, is very important. And since I started hiking alone, especially after my dog Ari died, that was something that was very big for me. I got an in-reach at a very early stage of my hiking because my mother was very concerned about how much time I was spending alone in the mountains. And yeah, I just really had to make sure that I was keeping myself safe. And I would have my female friends at the time would say that they want to join me, but I'm afraid of this, I'm afraid of that, and they wouldn't get over those fears. So I'm like, okay, let me show you, let me teach you, let me make sure that you feel safe and are safe, and then that way we can keep hiking and doing all these things together and really push those comfort zones and comfort boundaries of our own.
Yeah, that's awesome. So when you started talking to them about that, could you see or sort of feel their sort of anxiety drop?
Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that they felt settled about me going out and hiking, but yet still none of them did. None of them came with me. So it was from day one of Women in the Wild. There was my roommate at the time, Stacy. She would come on hikes and on snowboarding days with me. But other than that, it was all women who I met through Facebook. So as people would come out with me, they would see how prepared I am. I got so many comments because I'll typically wear what I call my adventure pants, and they've got everything on them. I've got like a full-sized knife, full-sized bear spray. I've got a medical kit that's just decked out that I've customized to what our trips are. I've got all of this stuff on me, and people will comment all the time being like, she's prepared, like, holy. And it does help people feel more comfortable, and of course, knowing that someone not only has that stuff, but knows how to use them properly. So meeting women online can be a very nerve-wracking thing. And when they see that I am very prepared and that I take safety very seriously, that definitely allows them to feel more comfortable and start coming out on hikes with me.
Absolutely. It looks like you have some like "Don't fuck with me" tattoos too, for sure.
Yeah, I've got quite a few tattoos. This one's a scarab with the pyramids behind it.
Yeah, I'd be like, I don't want to mess with her. That'd probably be not the bear spray, not the knife. It's like, no.
The tattoo.
It's the tattoo. Yep.
That's too funny.
So let's. I would love to hear more about Women in the Wild. Give me your 1-minute elevator pitch about what Women in the Wild mission is and why you started it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the core of why I started it is just to find more female friends who had the same interests as me. Because like I said, nobody would join me from my current friends group. So I wanted to meet more adventurous women that wouldn't just, go on day hikes with me, but wanted to help push those boundaries, and we could learn together and grow together, take courses together, all of that. So it's really grown from just free day hikes and meeting up to go rock climbing and all of that to now I hire guides to teach courses like avalanche skills training, wilderness first aid, stuff like that. I put these trips together for those bucket list destinations like Patagonia and Peru. And I just launched 3 weeks ago now my online course, which is kind of like an introduction to hiking and backpacking. It's called Trail Ready, Mastering Hiking and Backpacking Skills. And with that, I'm hoping that all of those people who are watching online, because there's so many people on Instagram who will watch and be like, I really want to do that, but I don't think I can, or they don't know what to look up, they don't know where to start. So I'm hoping that that'll be the starting point that people can go through to start then feeling confident and then start joining in on the adventures, on the trips, whether it's the free community hikes or if it's the big Patagonia, Peru, Spain, all of that.
Yeah. Did you find that maybe some of the feedback you were hearing from people, or maybe a barrier for them, was still the fear of like not knowing what to do, or hey, I'm not prepared, whatever, and then you were like, well, let me solve the problem, or offer a solution so you can come.
Exactly. Because I mean, all that information is out there, right? You can spend a few days on YouTube and find it all. But a lot of people are so new to the outdoors. Maybe they, live in the city, work a desk job, and really just aren't exposed to that. So how would they even know what to look up to find it, right?
Right.
The way I've laid it out, it starts with a mindset module, and then safety goes into trip planning. I go through all of the different like navigation, types of gear, all of this stuff that people should know before they get into it and kind of have an understanding. And then that way it's just an easy to understand way so that people can go through it and come out the other side being like, all right, I've got this and I can start hiking. There's like some self-assessments in there as well to see where you're at with your hiking skills so that you're not, trying to hike the Salcantay Trek when you've never done a hike in your backyard type thing, right?
Right. And then they end up on this trip and they're like, oh, fuck, why did I come on this trip? This sucks.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that either, right?
No, they don't. I mean, for those bigger ones that have multi-day treks, we'll put up like a questionnaire that people have to fill out so I can make sure that you do have the experience necessary to come and join that. But for the other ones, going to Yellowstone or Banff or something, anyone can join that. And if they're not feeling the hike that day, they can just opt out, hang out at camp, or do whatever it is that they want to do on their own.
Yeah, nice. Some options for folks.
Yeah.
You're going to Peru soon, I know, which is, that's incredible.
I'm so excited.
I'm going to be like in school being like, I wish I was in Peru with women in the wild right now. Maybe someday.
Yeah.
Maybe someday.
Someday, I'm sure we'll be going back to Peru.
Yeah. I want to dig into like, I want to sit in the passenger seat. I also want to like sit in the driver's seat of like, what is it like to be on one of these trips with you guys? So when you first started bringing women together in the wild, was there a specific trip or moment that made you think this is really something special? And what happened that made you wanting more, I guess, to keep doing it?
Yeah, I mean, in that first, I'm on year 4 now. So Women in the Wild has been going for 3 years now, starting year 4. The first year was really hit or miss. It was mostly me hiking by myself, snowboarding by myself. My friend Stacy would come. But when I did have women join me once every few months, I would have a group of 5 and 2 and 7 here and there, right? They would always be like, wow, this was really such a good experience. And, I'm new to hiking, but I'm afraid to go alone. So like, thank you for putting this together. And even those little comments here and there like really sat in my heart and made me feel like this is important. This is something that I need to keep doing. Even if I do 20 hikes by myself and one person comes on the 21st one, right? Having that environment where I can support people just really meant a lot to me from the very first time that someone who I'd never met before showed up and came with me. And then at the beginning of year 2, so this was 2 years ago now, I had a reel kind of go semi-viral. It was like, your 2024 could look like this, or I guess it was last year. Your 2024 could look like this if you join Women in the Wild. And it just showed photos from the different hikes and stuff that we had done together. And I took a group out to the Elephant Shelter, which is a shelter in Garibaldi Provincial Park. We did a snowshoe overnighter. There's no service. And when I came back into service and we were pulled over on the side of the road and I opened my phone, I'd gone from 1,000 followers overnight to 10,000. And then in the next week, I got up to 20,000. I was like, oh my goodness, what is going on? So I saw that it was that real. And then over the next 2 or 3 weeks, I had seen this company who is kind of like a third party company where they've got these itineraries and then they don't run the trips themselves. They look for creators, influencers, people with large followings to be the host for the trip. And then they get their followers to join. So I was like, you know what, let's just try that. Like, I think it would be really cool. So I launched this Costa Rica trip. I talked to, I put it up in my stories, like, who'd be interested in this, and got a lot of good feedback. And when I launched it, it sold out in 4 days.
Wow.
And that was 20 spots, which just blew my mind because a month before launching that, I had 1,000 followers and 90% of them were people that I knew in person.
Right.
So it was really wild.
It's like the 5 people that listen to my podcast. No, it's more than 5, but
yeah, and it grows, right? And
it slowly is.
Where you realize that this is making a difference and this is what people are missing in their lives. Mm-hmm. And we just did that Costa Rica trip, which was our first one. The Peru trips will be our second and third trips together. But Costa Rica was in November. And we only spent 6 days together, but lifelong friendships now. There were so many tears when saying goodbye. Right now, actually, there's 2 girls who were roommates on that trip. One of them flew and is staying with the other one for a couple weeks right now. Like, a bunch of them have met up after, and they all live potentially in different countries, like mostly in Canada and the US. There's some people from Australia and stuff as well that join our trips. But it's just been so beautiful because we still have that group chat. We still talk almost every day. And it's just been the best experience. And I mean, with my childhood of growing up training and being in the gym, other than the girls I saw in the gym and the girls that I saw at school, I really didn't have close female friendships that I could carry with me throughout life. And so seeing these kind of bonds being built through something that I built is just so unbelievably heartwarming, and it just makes me feel so good. It makes my heart so happy.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's like I'm getting like the warm fuzzies. It's like, and it gets so much harder as you get older, right? As your life changes. And I'm not a huge like Mel Robbins podcast person, but I did listen to an episode about her speaking on friendships as you get older, especially, and how friendships change over your life. And I think she said there's like 3 things that determine how friendships work or how possible they are. It's like timing, proximity, and something else. I can't think of the third one. Obviously I didn't listen that closely, or I don't know. I was probably distracted doing the dishes, or I don't know. But that's so incredible. And there's something about the outdoors that's so special too. I think obviously our phones are away a lot of the time. We don't get service in these places. Yeah. And I think it's just back to square one, human nature. We need to be in community. We need to be socializing. We need to be connecting with other people. And the outdoors is like, what better place is there? You're experiencing something sometimes that's really hard in a really beautiful place, pushing each other, supporting each other. It's like all the perfect storm of a lot of things happening, right? So I can imagine that's what you're setting up with the conditions of these trips.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, going back to when I started hiking with my dog, when he passed, like I felt that hole in me. I was like, I don't want to go hiking anymore because that was our thing. And then when I finally got over that, or not necessarily got over it, but pushed through it and started hiking on my own, then I kind of found nature to be that source of healing. Time with myself, time with nature, time to meditate, time to really feel those things in a safe environment where I'm not like locked in these 4 walls or anything like that. And after a couple of years of that is when I then was like, all right, now I'm ready. I'm ready to bring other people into this. I'm ready to have that community and call in the people that I'm craving in my life. And that was kind of some of the feedback that I got as well from that Costa Rica trip. I put out like a little post-trip survey, like what went well, what didn't, what's your review like? And the feedback that I got from the women about how some of them felt like this filled a hole in their heart that they didn't even recognize that they had. And they made some connections that their heart didn't know it was missing, but now they feel so much more connected, so much more whole than they did before the trip. And I can't even put into words how amazing that feels to have been able to facilitate that.
Right. Yeah. That sort of goes into my next question. Has there ever been a moment on a trip where you stopped and thought, this is why I do this? And maybe there was a breakthrough somebody had, or a crazy experience, or a moment of like pure awe. Can you think about a specific time? I'm sure there's been so many.
Every time, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Like every hike, every trip. I mean, we've only had the one trip so far, but Actually, one thing that just popped into my mind is before we even got to the Costa Rica trip, Kayla, who co-hosted the trip with me, we arrived a couple days early, and so we were waiting for everyone to kind of trickle in, their flights to land and all of that. And in the group chat, this girl named Lee commented saying something along the lines of, does anyone else feel like I'm flying to a foreign country to meet 21 women I've never met? And I've never been more excited. Like, I literally cried when I read that. I was like, oh my goodness, this is like making it happen for people, right? Like, a lot of people have these bucket list ideas, dreams, places that they want to go, these connections that they feel like they miss. But like you said, it's so hard sometimes to make friends and deep connections as an adult as you get older, because where do you find them, you know? And so facilitating this community where it's like, this is a very specific type of person that I'm calling in. So if you're here, then we're your people. And being able to bring people from all over the world to one place to spend a week or 2 weeks there together, and you just leave as lifelong friends. It's just a phenomenal experience every time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's like summer camp when you're a kid, but when you're an adult and you actually like really want to go.
Yeah.
And there's like, there's not like annoying people at camp that were also sent there that you don't want to hang out with, like annoying boys, right?
Yep. I've literally been thinking about that. I was like, I need to run a Women in the Wild summer camp. That's something that's been in the back of my brain.
Maybe that's what's next.
Something.
I think there would be like a huge following for that for sure. I think I've seen something on social media about, I don't know, it just looks like a drunken mess. So, I mean, I guess whatever your flavor is, but yeah,
There's
just something. Yeah, there's a place for everything. So, I'm going to shift a little here. You've trained in martial arts, yeah?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit?
I wouldn't say I've gone hardcore. I haven't competed at all. I trained kickboxing for, I want to say 2 years. The first year was like 3-4 times a week. Just kind of getting back into it. I was sick for a while. I've got Crohn's, and so I was on medical leave. And so when I was able to start working out again, and I wanted to put my muscle back on because I became really underweight, kickboxing was something that I decided that I wanted to get into. And then I did a little bit of jiu-jitsu, and I wish I did more, but I stopped that when I started doing forestry just because I had some injuries, and if I got injured doing martial arts, then I wouldn't be able to work. So, you know.
Right. So just like another badge of badassery, right? And now you lead, maybe they're not hardcore, maybe some are hardcore, they're different depending on what you're doing and where you're leading trips. Have you ever faced pushback or been underestimated because you're a woman in these male-dominated spaces? We know the outdoors are male-dominated. I am making an assumption when I say forestry is male-dominated, but I think I'm correct in my assumption.
Yeah. Absolutely you are, and especially with me being the climber and being a contract climber, it's different now because with the company that I contract to, we have a lot of the same clients. You know, this big contracting company that'll have sites here, there, all over the place. So I do see a decent amount of people repetitively throughout different job sites, and even if I haven't seen them before, sometimes they've heard of me because, oh, that's the girl that climbs trees, and there's not many of us. But before I started contracting directly to this one company, I had, 6 or 7 different companies that I would go with, and it wasn't uncommon for me to show up somewhere, especially with a new company, and we're doing a walkthrough of the site, and the foreman of whatever company that we're working for is telling us what to do, and they're looking at all the men and telling them, all right, that tree, this tree, that tree, don't touch that one or whatever, and I'm just kind of standing back, letting them do their thing, taking it in, and then they walks away, and then I'm the one that goes up the tree, and you just see them start lifting their phones and taking videos of me, because they're not used to it. They don't think that it would be me going up, but
yeah. I hope you give them, well, maybe not on the job. You're like flipping them the bird or whatever. You're just kind of like staying that
I let my
silent
actions speak for themselves,
Yeah, there you go. That silent, like confident type that like, yeah, exactly it. I don't need to say anything or do anything. I'm just going to show up and they can take their pictures and be goo goo gaga over it and
well, exactly.
Show them what's up. Yeah.
Like I said, now that I'm on this with this one company, most people, unless we start contracting to another company that we haven't worked with before, they pretty much all know who I am now at this point.
Right, because you've been doing it a while.
Yeah, I've been contracting with this company for 3.5 years now. So we've got, I'm going to say like 4 or 5 companies that are kind of like our bread and butter. We're always doing jobs with them. And then maybe now and then we'll toss in an extra random thing. but we're very consistently with these handful of companies, so they know who I am now. And
They're like, send Trish back. We like her. She does a good job.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So shifting back, that was kind of a random throw-in question, but I kind of wanted to ask that. So,
Yeah, no worries.
at what point did you realize Women in the Wild was actually huge? I think you spoke on it a little bit where that reel went viral, but was there a single moment that made you step back and say, "Whoa, this is bigger. This is like way bigger than I expected it to be"?
I think it was right after when that Costa Rica trip sold out so fast. Like I remember sitting at my dining table with my boyfriend there, and we were starting to talk about like what might this look like, what might this turn into, because it was already taking up so much of my time, and he knew that it was something that I was passionate about, and that it wasn't something I was going to just give up because it was too hard or taking too much of my time. So the conversation turned into, okay, how do I develop this into something that maybe it's probably going to take up more time, but maybe it can actually help, fund me so that I can take less time doing forestry or something like that, so that I have more of my free time back. And I remember sitting at that coffee table and talking with him and being like, well, these are my ideas. I could do this, this, and this. It's going to be a lot of work, and I'm going to need your support in these types of ways. And he just said, yeah, like this, you care about this a lot, and you're making a difference. So I'll support you in whatever way that you need. So that was the conversation, I guess, about a year ago now, because it was February 1st that I launched the Costa Rica trip, and February like 5th or 6th that it sold out. So that would have been mid-February or so. So just like a year and a month ago.
Nice.
And after we had that conversation, I just started going all in and launching these other trips. And now that I've got 10 trips going this year, it just keeps growing and keep adding different aspects to the community so that I can kind of support people at all different levels, whether it's with the course or just free hiking, rock climbing, kayaking days, stuff like that, or guided trips and courses, or a full-on 12-day trip to Patagonia, Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just like, how do I sign up for this? As in, like, do this all the time. It's like, gotta win the New York lottery. What's your boyfriend's name?
Brian.
Brian. We gotta give Brian a shout out for being an awesome, supportive spouse.
He's truly
Partner.
wonderful. I even asked him
Yes.
to not come home so that the garage door doesn't open while we're recording.
Brian, you're doing it again. Stop
I
being
know.
so awesome and being a male role model. See,
He is.
males, this is what it's all about. What do you anticipate? Do you feel like there's a timeline where you might be able to jump in full time, or you're still not completely sure?
I'm really not completely sure. The thing is, I don't want to ever put an amount on the membership, right? Like membership for joining Women in the Wild is always going to be free. Those local events, member-led events are always going to be free. When I'm hiring guides, I'm going to say 50% of the time, I don't make any money off of it because I don't want to, again, put those barriers up. And the other 50% of the time, I might be making $10 a person type thing. So there isn't much coming in that way. The only way that I would be able to make it full time and leave forestry altogether is if, say, this course really took off and I was able to make a living off of that. I do have plans for doing a membership for the course where there's, weekly calls, check-ins, question and answer, like video calls and stuff. So that would then be a paid membership aside from the Women in the Wild membership that's free. This would be just for the course. But at the time, I don't have the time to do that, right? So until I can build more with this course that I have right now, and then maybe take more days off of forestry to dedicate specifically to Women in the Wild, then I might be able to build it. But as of right now, I'm just trying to really fine-tune this course that I've built. I think it's wonderful. I've had 20 students come into it so far, and I'm getting really good feedback. They're letting me know, I didn't quite understand this. I love this part, but I would love to learn a little bit more about that. And I've recorded some videos to add to it. I've got a couple more modules I'm going to create. So I really just want to focus on that one course right now. And then if it does become a decent amount of money that comes in for me every month, then I could transition. But as of right now, there isn't a set date or anything like that where I'm going to be like, yeah, this is when I'm leaving forestry.
Yeah, no timeline. Right on. Well, it sounds like you're on the way, and it's all sort of organic, authentic goodness, and I feel like that's the best kind of way to go about it, and
Yeah.
people can kind of sense that, and and get behind it. And so,
Yeah.
and you're doing it from a place of something that you really love and that you're passionate about. So hopefully it's just some time that needs
Yeah.
to go by.
Yeah,
Which
exactly.
sometimes sucks. You're like, why can't I want to wake up tomorrow and have 5,000 people in my course. Come on, you
I
guys.
know,
Let's
right?
go.
But
Let's
I
get
mean, if you
behind
think
it.
about it, from January 2024 to now, I've gone from 1,000 to 108,000 followers. I've sold out 7 international trips, so there's 4 that still have spots left for this year. But like, it's growing fast. As much as I would love to overnight be able to make that switch,
I mean, I would,
couldn't be happier with how this is
right.
happening.
I would say a year is like, that's pretty much overnight with
Yeah.
something like this, or really anything that you're trying to build. I mean, it's remarkable that you have over 100,000 folks following you, and then for these courses to be taken off, and then the trips to be selling out. Yeah. I mean, what more could you ask for
Truly,
at this point?
yeah, it's been wild. And I mean, it was 2 years of me building it and hiking alone a lot of the time, but that was the part of the thing as well. Like, I wanted to call in those people who would be consistent and reliable, because you can join any Facebook hiking group and say, I'm going hiking here, but people don't show up. So to call in the people that I wanted to show up and be authentic and reliable, I had to be that, right? So that helped me to grow as a person as well, and be resilient with showing up all the time. Even if I knew no one else was coming, I would go anyways. And I think that really showed other people that it's safe to show up in that way, that this is the environment to do it in. And it's really called in those types of people.
Yeah, hell yeah. Have you ever had someone come on a trip who was completely outside of their comfort zone? I know you said you screened folks, but left maybe not a totally different person, but that you could tangibly see some growth out of them. And what's the most incredible personal transformation you've seen from someone?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is this girl, Allison. She's so awesome. She lives here in Vancouver as well. She, on a whim, signed up for our avalanche skills training course, not this past winter, but the winter before. So she took that, and that was the first Women in the Wild thing that she came on. And she had a great time. I was on that one as well, and so I got to meet her, and we had a wonderful time. There's another company called Mountain Mentors, which is where they hire experienced women to train, or not necessarily train, but meet up once a month with unexperienced women, and whether that's hiking, rock climbing, or skiing or snowboarding. And they just pair them up so that they can go once a month together. And they happened to have hired a guide from the same company that we hired on the exact same day to also do a snowshoeing avalanche skills training course. So they had 8, we had 8, so the 16 of us just got together and had a wonderful time. And from that, there was a whole bunch of different friendships that got made. More people joined Women in the Wild. But Allison, after that trip, started coming. She came on that snowshoe overnighter to the Elfin Shelter, where I came back and found that the Instagram had blown up. So she was on that one, and then she started coming to other hikes throughout the next coming months. And then that summer, which was this past summer, I hired a guide for an intro to rock climbing course, and she joined that one as well. And so she has just been continuously growing. She is a marathon runner, so that was kind of her outdoor experience, and a tennis player. And she hadn't really done too much, or really any like hiking and mountain style stuff. So taking that one course led her to meeting me and a handful of other really cool women that, like, I follow her on Instagram, and she's out there every weekend with these girls now. She's out there rock climbing, she's hiking, she's split boarding, she's doing all this cool stuff because she had the confidence in herself to just go on a whim and take this course that I offered. So she's just really grown quite a bit. I've been on probably 6 or 7 hikes with her now, and she's just consistently showing up, and she has grown so much with this community, and she's become a leader in it as well now.
Amazing. Allison, you said.
Yeah.
Open the floodgates on her. Amazing.
Yeah, and there's been a number as well. I mean, we met this girl, Chelsea, while we were in July on this hike. And it was funny because I do occasionally do like co-ed trips and hikes and whatnot, but the catch is that it can only be your partner. You can't bring your friend, your brother, it's not like open to the public where any man can join. Mm-hmm. So Brian was on that one, and he was sitting up on the bank and like eating some food and whatever while the rest of us girls went for a swim in the lake. And so Chelsea comes hiking up, and he talks to her, and he's like, hey, you should go talk to my girlfriend down there. I see you're hiking alone, and they've got a group over there. So she came down, and It was actually really funny because we hit it off with her immediately. And this was out in Chilliwack, and there's this ice cream shop out there. They've got a location in Chilliwack, and they've got a location in Abbotsford. And we were like, hey, we're going to Banters, is what it's called. We're going to Banters after. You should meet us there. Like, we'd love to chat with you more. Let's go. And she was like, okay, great. And so we show up to Banters, and we're like, oh, she didn't show up, man. Like, I hope we didn't put her off. And then she showed up, like, 2 months later to a kayaking day that I was hosting. And she went to the one in Abbotsford, not the one in Chilliwack. But she was such a good sport about it. She went there, she waited for us, but she's now been to so many things as well. She's come on so many snowshoeing trips. She's out there splitboarding with Allison. Like, these connections that are being made are just phenomenal. And I'm just so happy that I could facilitate that these women are finding other women to grow these passions with. Because I just get to like follow them all on Instagram now and see all the cool things that they're doing too. And I'm like, this is amazing. This is
what it's all about.
Yeah, this is more than I could ever have dreamed of when I started this Facebook group 3 years ago.
Right. I love that is like an organic, like hug into the group hug. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
really
incredible.
welcoming.
Yeah. And when I started this, this is sort of, I mean, it's a virtual thing. Eventually, I would love to like meet up with people and whatever, but same kind of thing. Like I never would have known you, or I've gotten pretty great outreach from the Basecamp post. People reaching out via email, lots of comments on that, a fair bit of likes, whatever. But just like a really cool, I'm calling it, it's not really a project to me. I want to keep doing it for the foreseeable future, you know? It's so cool. Like
it is. And
and
Basecamp is amazing for that. I've posted in Basecamp a couple of times, like when I launched an ambassador program for Women in the Wild, and I've had a few applications from women who followed me on Instagram. But what I have found is, because of course, the way that I'm advertising it, I'm attracting people who are looking to join things, not to host things. So I had to look elsewhere to find the leaders in the hiking community. So I posted that in Basecamp, and I got flooded with 40 applications, like overnight.
Wow.
So I took on 15 of those women, and they are doing a phenomenal job of just helping to facilitate the community and whatnot. And that came from Basecamp as well. So that's a great community too.
Yeah, they've been absolutely awesome. I didn't expect quite the reception that I got. I guess I had no idea what to expect. I'm like, maybe I'll get like 5 likes and maybe like one person will email me, but it was a lot more than that. But it's just been so cool to just sit and like talk with people and get to know their story, and try to build this thing and have it as like a hub for, hey, when you're working your 9 to 5 or whatever, let's just listen to a story and try to like zip away for a moment, you know?
Yeah,
and just like we're sitting around with friends listening to a conversation. That's what I want it to be.
Exactly, yeah. And like there isn't a ton of hiking podcasts out there. There's some pretty niche ones. I found like Backpacker Radio in August and like binge listened to it every single day.
They're very niche though, and I want to open it up more, right?
Yeah, exactly. And like I've been wanting for over a year now to start a podcast as well, but like it takes so much time, and like with my full-time job and Women in the Wild, it's just not going to happen. So one of my goals for this year was to be a guest on more podcasts. I did one in the fall, and I'm actually doing another one here on Friday. So thank you for helping me facilitate that too.
Yes, anytime. Or maybe we can collab in the future too again, or bring on. It'd be cool to bring on some people, or Zoom in more people that have been on a trip, and they can talk more about that too, or I don't know. Yeah, we just kind of banter. Yeah, I would love that. If you had to break it down, what's the one thing that takes a trip from just good to absolutely unforgettable? What's the secret sauce, if there is one? Sometimes it's just a natural secret sauce that just happens with the dynamics, but.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to say the community and the engagement, really, because kind of like we talked about earlier, different people are in different things, but because of how I have structured Women in the Wild, I am bringing in a very specific type of person. And because of that, the community and the connections are instant. You know, we meet each other night one. Everyone's obviously got those like little bit of nervous jitters, like, hey, like I'm so and so, like where are you from?
First night in my dorm at college.
100%, yeah. And then day 2, we are best friends. We are making jokes on the bus. We are like pumping each other up. And that was the other thing. Like some of the women who came to Costa Rica had some really bad fear of heights. but they accomplished those. They overcame them. They rappelled down waterfalls with 20 women behind them going, "You can do this! Like, let's go!" And
Gosh,
it
the
was
chills.
just, yeah, like the feelings that you got from this was just phenomenal. And I had one of the girls from Costa Rica just do like a video testimonial that I posted a week or two back on my Instagram. And she talked about that. She's like, she's got a very big fear of heights. And being with this community, being so held and supported by these women helped her overcome that. And it's not just about overcoming that. It's feeling like she has the confidence and the ability and the strength to now overcome other things in her life and really grow as a person, because she knows that if she could overcome that, she can overcome so much more.
Right. I feel like, again, no better way to build yourself up and learn about yourself and challenge yourself and sort of like, yeah, look at a climbing wall. It's all just, what's the word? I can't even think of the word. It's not even like the challenge necessarily. It's like, I don't know. It's just like a metaphor, I guess, of whatever you go through.
Yeah.
There's so much more than you can do,
Yeah.
that you think you can do in yourself. And when you do something crazy like climb a wall that you never thought you could, or hike a certain amount of miles in one day with 65 pounds on your back, or you know, whatever it is, it's like, damn, your threshold just starts to push.
That's it, right?
And then you look back and you're like, oh shit, I did all that.
Yeah, that sense of pride, right? It sticks with you. And like, I'm type 2 fun all the way, like sufferfest until you get to the summit and then be like, yo,
Yeah,
I just did
same.
that.
People
like,
are like, you are not fun right now. But I'm like, but I have beer in my bag. When we get there, come on, let's go. And they're like,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And like, I've said it throughout my life, you know, always push those comfort zone boundaries. You know, you don't grow unless you go out of your comfort zone a little bit. And pushing that really shows you that, like, yeah, okay, you're comfortable here, you can do this thing here, but what if you went a little bit further? How much further could you go? And pushing those boundaries just gives you so much confidence when you go past it, and then you realize, I was fine. Wonder how much further I can go, you know?
it's not that scary. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Just because you're afraid doesn't mean something bad's going to happen, right?
Exactly. Especially with a badass group of other women around you too. There's that support system piece that you can still be scared, but you're not in danger, right?
Absolutely. And like, especially because not only are we ambitious and adventurous, we're also very safety minded. So if we think something's unsafe, we're going to tell you. We're going to stop you, you know? But
Yeah,
if
or
we know
pivot
that
what
you
we're
can do
doing.
it,
Yeah.
if you're, you know, you're tied in with your harness, we've double checked everything and you're good, we're going to push you past that comfort zone.
Right. Exactly. We're never going to put you in a situation that something's actually bad's going to happen.
Precisely. And I mean, I've turned back on hikes, like even just, we went and did that same snowshoe hike, the overnight to a hut. We did that exact same hike, literally on the exact same dates again, actually this year. And I turned back with one of the girls because she was feeling like, this injury isn't doing me well, and I don't know if I can keep going. And I was her ride and I was her safety contact. Like, well, my safety contact was our safety contact. So I'm like, hey, let's go. Let's go back down. There were other 5 women kept going. They completed and did the overnight hike. Her and I, plus one other, decided, let's just turn back. Better to be safe than sorry. We can come and do this another day, right?
Yeah. Yep. We can always pivot. And not every venture goes as planned. So I would love if you had a funniest moment. Again, probably so many, but a funniest moment that's coming to mind, or most unexpected or most absurd thing that's ever happened on any of the Women in the Wild trips.
Have you ever been caught on the wrong side of a landslide?
Nope, can't say I have.
So in September, myself and 3 other women, we had planned this overnight trip to it's called Blanca Lake out in Squamish. And you have to drive pretty far down a Forest Service road. And the weather wasn't great. I mean, September in British Columbia, it's rainy, right? So we're all very eager. We've all hiked together many times now. Allison was on that trip. And we were like, you know what, let's just go. We'll go and we'll keep assessing. And as we're going up, it's just getting so much more rain. We're getting cold, but because we're moving, we're not too cold. I think it took us about 2 hours to get to the lake itself. And we probably stopped 3 times to check in, like, how's everyone doing? You're not getting hypothermia? No, you're good. Who wants to keep going? And so we kept going. when we got to the lake, we were literally in a blizzard. Snow was coming at us sideways. We were like, all right, all in favor of not staying the night because we're going to get hypothermia? Yeah, okay, let's go. So we put on some layers and started hiking down. And obviously, you know, a quarter of the way down, the sun came out, but we still knew that we weren't going to warm up if we stayed overnight, so we kept going. And yeah, we get to the truck, we get changed into some dry clothes, and we start driving away. We're, you know, talking, doing our girl thing. And then we start seeing like vehicles lined up on the side, and there's a lot of fishing on that river. There's a lot of camping on that river. So like, okay, wow, like I guess it is Saturday. There's people camping here, right? And then we see people like kind of watching us as we drive by. We're like, what is happening? And then we get to this point and we stop, and the road wasn't there anymore. The road that we drove on 4 hours earlier was no longer there. And we all just had a moment. Yeah, we just had this moment where we're like looking at each other, didn't know what to say, we're dumbfounded. And then we just started laughing. And we're like,
oh my gosh.
Like nervous laughing.
We're like, where do those girls think they're going?
Yeah. Like we were just like, what is happening? And we get out and we look. There's like 20 other people standing here with their hands on their hips, looking at where the road is supposed to be. Like, what do we do? So we, you know, had our little huddle. We're like, all right, well, this is also a Forest Service road where you need 4x4 on. So my boyfriend, once again, Brian, we love Brian, comes to the rescue. I used my Garmin InReach to send him a text and was like, hey, you need to come get us because there's no road anymore and we're stuck. And this was a Saturday, and I don't know how people knew this, but apparently some people had gotten word from someone in power that the construction crews and that the RCMP weren't showing up until Monday. So we were like, all right, well, I guess we're leaving the truck here. One person, not from our group, a different guy, he had gone down and found a route to get through the outflow. So we packed all of our gear on us, and Brian was coming in 3 hours because it was going to take him 3 hours to drive to us. Before we went over, we went and talked to different people that were sitting there, and we're like, hey, what's your plan? Like, what's going on? There was a handful of people that didn't know what to do, and I'm like, all right, I've got an InReach, like give me a phone number for someone who I can text for you. And I sent those messages out, and InReaches, they take a while to send their messages, but eventually they did get them, and those people had safety contacts coming. So we left her truck there, took all of our stuff, climbed down the bank, went through the outflow, helped each other across like all the mud and all the debris and everything, climbed back up the other side. And there was this really nice family who had been on their way to go camping. Their group of friends were on the other side, and they had no idea if their friends knew that there was a washout or not, because they were on their way to meet them and they're supposed to be there for a night. So they were just sitting and waiting, and they decided to wait with us. They're like, oh, like, what are you doing? Are you walking to town? We're like, no, like my boyfriend's coming. And they had like the tiniest little fireplace, and they just like set it on the ground, and we all like sat on our bear bin cans around the fire. They gave us water. They were so sweet and kind. And then we just waited for Brian to show up, and he came and picked us up and drove us home. And it was like a week later until Lori could go back and get her truck.
Oh my goodness. Isn't it crazy how magic like that happens?
It was wild.
It's like nature had other plans for you to give you that kind of story for women in the wild. That was that was like that was like two crazy things.
It was
one, the
wild.
weather, the sideways snow. I know about that. I grew up in Minnesota. We say we're basically Canada. I mean, BC gets more wild because you're farther north. But man, wow. And Brian, he's like an honorary women in the wild. Let's be real.
And when he does come on the co-ed trips, he is the trip photographer, the videographer. He's like airdropping everyone their photos afterwards.
We love Brian. We absolutely love Brian.
Yeah.
Yes, we love Brian.
Yeah.
Now all these women are going to be like, we can't wait to meet Brian. We hear he's great. I'm so looking forward to the trip and to meet Brian.
Yeah, right? Yeah, he's, I don't even know if anyone knows what he looks like. I think I put one photo of him up once just to be like, hey, by the way, this is Brian who's coming on the co-ed trip. You know?
Keep it mysterious, you know. You want to have a level of mystery on your trips.
Yeah, I had been like, once the Instagram account kind of became the Women in the Wild account and was no longer my personal one, I had kind of like stopped putting, and I didn't stop putting my face up, but you wouldn't be able to tell that it was me. So like there's a reel showing a trip that we did or like a hike that we did, and I'd be in there, but so would 10 other women, so you would know that it was me. And I just like wanted to be about the community, not about me, right? And then I realized that people that wanted to join, they were like, but who is this person? You know, who was behind Instagram?
You're the face of the company, right?
Yeah, so I'm like, all right, well, I guess I have to show my face now. So I try and get on and, you know, talk on lives and go on my story and stuff and put up a, hey, I'm Trish kind of post type thing so that people know who I am and can be more comfortable and feel like it's a safe space for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of trips, ultimate trips, if you could plan an ultimate dream trip, no budget, no limits, what would it be?
Am I limited to one location, or can this be like a 3-month long trip where I go here?
Anything.
Here?
All of its game.
Amazing. So, I don't know where I would start with, but I'm going to say 3 locations right now. No, 4. One of them, obviously, Patagonia. We are going to Patagonia in October, and we're doing the W Trek, so I would like to do the O Trek, which is longer. It encompasses the W Trek and then does another piece as well. From there, I would go down, go to Antarctica, and then come back up. I would like to go back to Peru to do the, what's it called, the Cordillera Mountains. There's like a 12 to 16 day trek that I would like to do there. Yeah, it would be so cool. I said 4, now I'm going to say 5. Because then I would like to go to Iceland and do everything that there is to see there.
I've done that for 2 weeks.
Oh my God.
I did a whole loop, rented a car with a friend. We just straight up dirtbagged for two weeks.
That's the way to do it.
This was right when Iceland was like on fire, like right at the beginning. I feel like this was like late 2016. And obviously people were going there before that, but I feel like it really was starting to amp up because social media was starting to amp up around that time. But yeah, I feel like we got in right at like a really good time, and we just like dirtbag camped, because you can go up. They actually will tell you, like Icelanders will like tell you to go up and knock on like farmers' doors and just be like, hey, can we camp on your land? And they'll usually be like, sure. I don't know anymore, because again, that was almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, much busier now.
Right, and we ended up pulling over to do an Airbnb at this sweet, her name is Nana, at this sweet woman's house, and just like had a shower. She had a big back porch in front of like a volcano with like a river and a hot tub. And we hit it off so much that she let us stay a second night for free, and we just slept on the floor of her living room, because she had guests coming in for the room that we were in. She had new guests coming in. And then we ended in Reykjavik. We were at a hostel. She came into Reykjavik. This was like 2 hours from Reykjavik, where we were staying with her, where she lived. And ended up having dinner with us, and it was just like, again, just the magic of the outdoors and the magic of travel and the magic of women coming together. But it was spectacular. I would love to cycle it, actually, or do some cycling. Maybe not the whole thing, but
I
incredible.
listened to the Backpacker Radio podcast where Jabba did a cycling tour in Iceland with his buddy that lives there. Wild, absolutely wild. Their story is crazy.
Yeah, I follow him. I've not listened to that. I didn't talk to him, but I did Rake Ride this summer. It's the bike ride across Iowa. He did it with Doozer, and I saw them a bunch of times, and I kind of was like, everyone goes up to them and bothers them and talks to them, and I want to just leave them alone. And
yeah, fair.
I passed Doozer. Doozer was by himself, and I just like screamed his name. I was like, "What's up, Brian? I'm Doozer, woo!" And that like was the extent of it. So
yeah,
someday,
I'm sure they appreciate that as well, because it's cool to get recognized, but also it can probably, I'm sure, get to be a lot.
Really annoying, right? Yeah. Especially on like, because that's what Ryan's known for mainly, and now Jabba. I mean, Jabba hiking for sure, but he's been more into biking lately. But yeah, I mean, I feel like if that was me, it might be nice if somebody just screamed my name and gave me the peace sign and just kept going.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it was wild actually. This past summer on a hike, the same hike that we met Chelsea on, we were going up and there was these 2 women going down. And I mean, I've got some pretty distinctive tattoos, like the fern on my neck. And this girl stopped, she looks at me and she points, she's like, "You're Women in the Wild." And I was like, yeah, I am. She's like, "Cool." And she kept on going, I was like, "Whoa." It's the first time that's ever happened.
Yeah. I'm sure that's how like celebrities feel like all the time too. Yeah.
I couldn't imagine. Yeah, it would be a little bit unnerving knowing that anyone could be looking at you knowing who you are.
Yeah. I can't. No, thank you. No, thanks.
Yeah.
I'd rather stay unknown for sure.
Yeah. And that was part of why I didn't want to show my face on Instagram too. But it's like, well, it'll help the community to grow. So,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Last question. Little plug for yourself too. Future of Women in the Wild. Where does it go next? So, obviously you said you've talked on several events coming up. Are there certain things you want to plug?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
For this year, a lot of our trips are sold out, right? But we still have spots for Alaska in August. We've got 2 Bali trips in Spain, which are going to be really incredible. And then the Patagonia is sold out. And then Spain in November still has some spots. So I'm trying to fill all of those up before we start anything for 2026. I've got things in the works and I've got those trips being planned, but I haven't announced them or anything yet. And then other than that, I'm just trying to build the community in that kind of mid-range where people are wanting to get into hiking but don't know how. So I'm just trying to keep building that course. So that's really something that I want to make kind of almost more important than the trips, because the trips are amazing. They're bucket list, but they're expensive and they're not accessible to everyone, right? And I really want, the whole point of me starting Women in the Wild was to make the outdoors accessible to people. So to help do that, I want to really build out this course and make sure it's available to as many people as possible.
Right on. And people can find that on your website?
No, currently they cannot. The way that I'm doing it is on the Instagram. I'm doing live trainings. So on Instagram, currently I've done 2 live trainings, and the next one will be on March 27th, which I don't know if that'll be before we launch this podcast or not. But
it'll be after. I'm going to try to launch on this Sunday. I'm going to try.
Okay. Perfect.
I should.
So,
I try to make minimal edits, and you know, if we're only talking for an hour, a little over an hour, it's not too hard for me to get it all edited and sent out.
Right. Yeah, so the 27th will be my last live training until after I come back from Peru, because while I'm in Peru, I'm just going to throw up one of the recordings of a training that I've done so that I'm not having to take time out of the trip. But yeah, I'm posting the link on Instagram so people can sign up for the training. They come in. It's only about 45 minutes long, where I kind of go over what I think are the 2 most important skills that people need to be a safe and confident hiker and backpacker. I give them a couple of free downloads from the course so they can see what the documents kind of look like and go through what it is. One of them is a trip planning template, which is 4 pages long. So every time you're going hiking or backpacking, you can fill it out so that you have the best assurance of a safe trip, right? You kind of have looked into everything and have made all your contingencies plans. And then with that, I'll give them the link to purchasing the course as well, if they so choose to do that. And when they do that, they get access as well to the private Facebook group where everyone can pop in. If you want to request that I add something to the course, that's where you do that. If you've got questions, you can ask there and I'll respond, and you can talk with other participants and all of that. So I will at some point have it listed on the website where people can just go and purchase it. But since it's so new, I want to have the opportunity to talk to people and this is what it's about. It's for you if you're this type of person, but it's not for you if you're already a backpacker. If you're looking for mountaineering, stuff like that, then it's not for you because it doesn't go into that, right? So I just want to make sure that people are aware of what it is and what it isn't, so they don't make a purchase that isn't right for them.
Right. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for coming on. This was awesome. Again, I feel like I made a new friend, and we were just getting to know each other and hanging out.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Danielle. This has been really wonderful. It's been really great to get to know you as well.
Yeah, likewise. I don't know. I'll do some stuff on my social media. I know it's not all about you and like, hey, I was on this podcast, whatever, but hopefully some of the questions maybe you want some of your followers to hear. I'll do some cutting up of some reels. I'm trying to do more than one reel. I kind of like you, I too work a full-time job. So it can be a lot to record and then cut up the full recording, and then I'm putting it on Spotify and Apple and YouTube, and then cutting reels and doing all these things.
It's a lot, yeah.
But I definitely wanted to be intentional about digging into what are these trips like? What is it like for a participant? What is the whole purpose and mission of truly digging deeper into it, right? So
yeah, for sure.
If you want to collab and post it, great. If not, I'm not offended, because I know that's a space that maybe you just want to keep. That's about the community. It's not about Trish, whatever. But I'll be cutting up some reels and posting them for me. So yeah, just
cool.
let me know.
Yeah, depending on the day you post them, because I've got like a strategy of when I post things for when I'm
Got you.
putting the live training on. But
Yeah.
I'll more than likely accept any collabs that you throw in there.
Okay, cool. And yeah, if there's a certain piece of this conversation that you want me to take a reel from, let me know, because I
Okay,
can do
yeah.
that too and send that over. If you want to, like, for the live course, if you want me to have the reel specific to you speaking about the live course, right? Then
Yeah,
I can
that'd be
send that
great.
over. That could be the first thing that I clip, and then just post it. And then
Okay.
if I tag you on it, then you have to accept it, and it just, I think, goes
Yeah.
automatically then onto your page. I believe
Yeah, it
that's
does,
how it
yeah.
works.
Yeah,
Yep.
that would be good. Yeah, because I'll be
So-
not this Thursday, so not tomorrow, but the next Thursday is when I'll be putting up the
Okay.
the live training again, or doing the live training again. So I'll be starting on Friday to start posting about it again to promote. So that would be perfect.
Okay. Yeah, and I can get them cut up because the reels are. I have a there's like an automated option for me to cut up. Here, I can stop recording now.